Good morning, this is Cash, and I'm going to show you how to teach people the kettlebell most efficiently, the kettlebell swing. So when we start people off, of course we start them with the swing, and the problem is that it's totally understandable that if you start people with a kettlebell swing, you want to start teaching them the swing right away, but ultimately it's not the most efficient way to teach it. You want to troubleshoot the swing first. So the problem is that when people see us lifting kettlebells, they see a heavy weight, they feel a heavy weight in their arms, and they try to lift the weight with their arms. It's totally an underestimated thing. You also have to consider that most people are coming to this without having the training of glute and hip activation. They don't actually have this movement in their back pocket from habituated use. Instead, what we have is muted hip syndrome. What we have is people have been sitting in chairs, I can't even simulate it, for most of the time, and what's happened is that, of course, the lower back is atrophied, the hamstrings are shortened and tightened, the entire posterior chain from a lack of heavy lifting in life is atrophied and weak. And what we see people walking around with is a hip posture that looks like this. When we talk about opening the hips, we're talking, technically the movement is called hip extension. So if I'm down here and I stand up, that's hip extension because I've extended my hips. Now the hip, of course, refers to this joint right here. Dan John, kettlebell swingers typically call this the hinge movement. So the hinge movement is from here to here. What I'm suggesting is that before you teach people to swing the kettlebell, before you let them pick up the kettlebell, to teach the kettlebell swing, start people right here like this. So wide stance, touch your hips right here, pull your hips back. Okay? You've got to see this from the side. Stand up like this. Check to see how much hip extension they have. Check to see whether they can open their hips. So what you do is you stand them up right here and you say, okay, squeeze your glutes, push your hips forward. Looks like that, right? And this is actually, that's very solid posture and it's great for lifting. It's really valuable. So a lot of people you'll find actually don't go here. And we're going to correct the problem. We're going to address the problem with the kettlebell swing. Again, start people up here, wide stance, touch the hips, touch your hips, pull your hips back, good. Stand up, squeeze the glutes, hips forward, hips back, great. Can you do this? You'll find that just a couple seconds and people will be able to do that movement. If you put the kettlebell in their hands first and tell them to swing the bell, you're going to be fighting with many people, not with everybody. You're going to be fighting with them, pulling with their arms for a very long time. But just get them doing several reps of this. This is the kettlebell swing. And you can also demystify the movement, take some of the intimidation away from the kettlebell swing just by explaining to them that this really is the kettlebell swing. That's the whole thing. It's that simple. Now, watch my hands. We have to address the top of the movement. We have to address the shoulders. Relax the hands right here. Elbows are slightly bent, right? Butt's back, pop. What happens? My hands fly up. Pop, hands fly up. And that's what's going to happen with our kettlebell swing. This position right here at the top, I call the T-Rex position, right? See the T-Rex arms? What's going on here is that my shoulders have not been pulled forward by the bell. It's because I'm prioritizing my core and I'm pulling my shoulders back. So I've got retraction of the shoulders back here. This is a strong core position. What we know from everything about squats and jumping is that when you're charging a movement with hip extension, all these big powerful movers right there, and there's any kind of lifting or activity going on up above the shoulders with the arms, what you know is that to generate that movement, the spine has to be erect, it has to be extended. That position is here with the shoulders back. It's bringing the thoracic spine into better extension. That's a healthier place to be. That's also why, when we talk about the swing, I'm going to advocate this position here with the T-Rex arms, because the shoulders are back and not out here. And that's what we see a lot of, is people swinging the bell way out there. Ultimately, the goal is to lift more weight, to get more power for every ounce of work that you're doing. And you'll get more power if you're lifting a heavy bell. If they lift with their arms, they will not be able to lift a heavy bell. So when I teach people, when I'm introducing people to the kettlebell swing, there's a really simple progression where I might start them with a 26-pound bell, go to the 35-pound bell, and then the 53-pound bell. Most guys, say in their 20s, can take the kettlebell that's 26 pounds and 35 pounds, and they can simulate the swing by lifting it with their arms. This is a 53-pound bell, so it's hard for me to do it, but basically they're doing this, right? Arms are moving, hips aren't moving so much. Give them the 53-pound bell, and they won't be able to fake that anymore. Also, of course, when they're lifting with the arms, you'll see the bell will droop. So this is one of the tests. Lifting with the arms, bell falls. Swinging, the bell projects out. Look at my grip on the bell, just fingertips. All my fingers are doing is hooking that thing to prevent it from flying away, because the trajectory of the bell is outward and it's being thrown by my hips. All right, so that's the stuff that I teach people before we even pick up the bell to swing it.